You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
So when you hear the words hip hop, what do you think of?
I think of many things. I think of like the origins of hip hop, kind of like where it all started in the Grandmaster Flash days and things like that. I think of b-boys, graffiti, kind of like the core roots and core values of what hip hop used to be and what it used to embody. Um,
Many think of hip hop simply as a genre of music that is synonymous with rap. However, it is actually a multifaceted and complex culture that has distinct aspects. The term hip hop was likely created by a rapper named Keith Cowboy. It is thought that the artist came up with the name hip hop while poking fun at a friend who had recently joined the military. The words hip and hop were an onomatopoeia mocking the rhythmic sound made when soldiers march. The term was first used officially in the publication The Village Voice. The founder of hip hop is Jamaican native G.J. Kool Herc. In 1973, he performed at a sister's birthday party in West Bronx, New York City, where hip hop was born. Later, dance, rapping, and DJing would come together to solidify hip hop as a new culture. Using turntables, previously recorded music was blended together to create something new. The breaks in the music, where all music would stop playing except for the drum beat, made by DJs, created opportunity for improvisational dancing, which is where breakdancing originated, another key aspect of hip hop culture. Hip hop is a product of two important parts of African American culture that we discussed throughout this course, both the call and response pattern of communication, as well as the high importance placed on the complex verbal ability, as seen in the game The Dozens, are thought to have influenced hip hop culture significantly.
What is DJing?
DJing is, the word DJ stands for disc jockey. So a disc jockey is someone who is in the club, has got turntables and is rocking vinyl records. That carried on to many different levels, from scratching by Grand Wizard Theodore, and then from there it just kept getting developed, like, creating different patterns with the turntables and manipulating turntables. But that's what DJing is. It's someone behind two records, a mixer, and rocking a party, without getting requests and stuff.
DJing, which is also known as turntablism, is the skill of manipulating sounds and beats in order to create music through the use of phonograph turntables and a DJ mixer. Kool DJ Herc was one of the first hip-hop DJs, and he created hip-hop through the isolation of breaks, and breaks are the parts of songs that focus on only the beat. Scratching was later introduced into hip-hop, and scratching is a technique used to make percussive or rhythmic sound effects by moving the record back and forth on the turntable. Usually DJs use two turntables simultaneously, and the result is a single song that seamlessly combines the sounds of two separate songs. DJs were the stars of the show in the early years of hip-hop, but MCs surpassed DJs by 1978. There are multiple types of DJs, first being radio DJs, and they introduce and play music on radio stations. Club DJs select and play music in bars, raves, and nightclubs, and mobile DJs, which travel with portable systems that go to events and gatherings. DJing is different depending on where you are. For example, in reggae, which is from Jamaica, the DJ is a vocalist who raps or talks over pre-recorded tracks while another person selects tracks to play. But overall, DJing is another unifying aspect of hip-hop, and it has its own culture within the culture of hip-hop.
When you hear like the words or the phrase MC or rapper, like, is there a difference between them to you?
Well, MC, I believe there's more of like a guideline to it, and then when there's a rapper, it's just kind of, he's just not spitting out, but he is freestyling it and just coming up with his lyrics as he goes.
MCs are known to be masters of ceremonies, which means that they are basically someone who is in charge of keeping the show flowing smoothly, which is traditionally done in the form of entertainment. However, with the emergence of hip-hop in the 1970s, the definition of MC began to blend and grow with hip-hop. Today, MCs and rappers are seen as the same people. During an interview on Sway in the Morning, rapper, actor, and entertainer Ice-T explained what it means to be an MC as opposed to a rapper. In his interview, Ice-T said, "An MC is a person who can move a crowd as well as control it. He continued to say, rapping is something that they do, but it's not all that they do, he concluded. Whereas a rapper only performs their music. Within the hip-hop community, MC is an acronym for microphone controller or music controller, which contributed to the reason that MCs is so synonymous with rapping today.
When you hear the word graffiti, do you think it as an art or as vandalism?
It's art to me. I wish I was good enough to tag, as some of the other my friends that I have, because some of the homies are really good. And so, like, when I see graffiti and hear the word graffiti, I just instantly think of just, like, really dope artists who make these amazing, like, murals and things, like, in predominantly minoritized communities, but also within some affluent communities, and people get mad about it. And so, like, that's an essence of disruption within kind of the everyday society, and so I think it's art.
Graffiti, also known as tagging, was introduced into hip-hop in the early 1970s. Graffiti was artwork that was done usually with spray paint on bus subways in New York to represent, mark, or communicate with your crew or gang, and over time expanded to walls, buildings, etc. This was done predominantly by black teens in the cities like Bronx, Brooklyn, and Manhattan at the time. Originally, this was seen as vandalism in the eyes of many, but was symbolic and artistic to gangs and their culture, creating competition between gangs and a link to hip-hop, and eventually creating a vast following. Today, these once quick vandalistic tags to signify a gang name, however still popular, have evolved into more elaborate tags and pieces like full murals that are now considered and seen as art. The competition between gangs, visual artistic expression, along with its history, has helped the culture and the following of graffiti grow, along with the growth and culture of hip-hop as well.
So what is the difference between old school breaking, versus new school breaking?
The difference, well, in essence, breaking has been, out of all the elements of hip-hop, from DJing, graffiti, MCing, and break, it's been the only culture that stayed true to itself, meaning that we still carry the same practices as they did back in 1973, in the late 70s, mid 70s, when this whole culture was developing.
Breakdancing, also known as breaking or b-boying, and sometimes also called b-girling, is a style of dance that was started in South Bronx, New York, around 1970s. It was first called Good Foot because of James Brown's big hit, Get On the Good Foot, that was in 1969. The origins of this dance comes from different cultures, which from African culture came the heavy beats and rhythm, along with circling around each other while they dance. It was also incorporated with gymnastics, Eastern martial arts, salsa, tap dance, Afro-Cuban, and Native American dances as well, along with influence from Brazilian martial arts, capoeira. Also during the dance, there are 4 different types of moves for breaking, which is top rock, bottom rock, power moves, and freezes. They are all incorporated into the style of dances that they have for breaking.